By the hoary hand of hell, I have had enough with these people. Seriously, what is it with mortals and their insistence on self-righteousness? Hello everyone, Son of Hell is back with a new video. Today, Mr. Richard Brunt, a Canadian, tries to tell Americans they have nothing to complain about with Obama, and I respond. I'm going to take this one bit by bit, or apart bit by bit I should say. Sorry if I'm a bit facetious on this. This article comes to us, something called the feedback file. You Americans have no idea how good you have it with Obama. This is from a Canadian newspaper from a gentleman living in Victoria, British Columbia. I am sure this man is an expert on American affairs and politics. He begins with this, and I quote, "Many of us Canadians are confused by the U.S. midterm elections." End quote. Well, fair enough. Most Americans are confused by Canadian elections. Despite most of us being democracies, we really don't get each other's politics. It's sad but true. I generally have no idea which party in the UK stands for what, except that apparently Labour is not good, and Tories are pieces of shit. Continuing on, quote, "Consider right now, in America, corporate profits are at record highs, the country's adding 200,000 jobs per month, unemployment is below 6%, U.S. gross national product growth is the best of Organized of Economic Cooperation Countries, OECD." End quote. Actually, Mr. Brunt, that is part of the issue. Corporate profits are at record highs, but individual financial profits are at all-time lows. Thanks to things like Obamacare, most jobs are now part-time, and they do not offer more than 24 hours a week, because to do so, they would have to offer health care benefits. This is down from what used to be close to 38 hours a week. So we've lost close to 14 hours in our work week per job, which means what could once be close to sustainability is now insustainability on an epic scale. So in essence, a number of those 200,000 jobs that have been added each month probably equal out to what might be truly closer to 100,000 jobs, since you're working about half as much. Add into the fact that many people on the lower end of the spectrum, such as myself, are working 2 to 3 jobs, and those 200,000 jobs a month does become more like 67,000 to 100,000 people employed every month. This is regardless of the fact that 200,000 jobs a month isn't that large when you consider the population of the United States or the amount needed for, positive job growth. Most of these jobs are temporary jobs. Most people don't stay at a job for more than a few years at this point. Now, add on to this, for example, before the recession, we had about 146,300,000 people employed, and we now have about 143,800,000 employed. So we're minusing about 2.4 million people working. In addition to this, the working age population has grown from 223 million to over 245 million. So we've increased our working age population by 15 million. Add those two numbers together and you get something close to about 17.4 million people of working age who don't have jobs. And with only a 200,000 a month increase in jobs, I'm sorry, that's really not cutting it. Even if only one person took one of those jobs rather than, say, one person having to take multiples of those jobs, you're not building it up. At best, you're getting, let's see here, 200,000 times 12, you're getting about, maybe a growth of 2.4 million jobs a year versus 17.4 million people in that same year. And that's assuming that all these people stay at their jobs. as for the below 6% unemployment rate, I'm guessing you're getting that factor from the U.S. government. Non-government agencies, have proven that that number is based on people reporting for essentially unemployment checks. That's not counting the people who've not bothered to even try applying for the unemployment benefits anymore. Last I'd heard, other projections of unemployment basically were counting it to double or triple the official estimate, which means that the unemployment and underemployment rate is actually closer to at least 18% overall, with variations based on community, with African Americans being hit harder than, say, college graduates. But even so, you're still talking close to 1/5 the population looking to be unemployed or underemployed. That is not what I would call a good economic situation. And if America truly is experiencing the best out of all these OECD countries, that merely means other nations have it worse, not that America is doing good. I mean, the UK is currently looking to leave the European Union because they're pretty much being hit with a massive tax for having been successful. And you can look to Sargon of Akkad for that video. And Germany, I think, is still being looked at as the, uniform bailing bucket for every failing country in the European Union. So, given those situations as examples, of course America is going to look successful. But corporate profits are not the only measure of a nation's success, Mr. Brunt. Especially not by American standards of success. America is for the people and by the people. If the people are not succeeding, then the country is not succeeding. Here we go, quote. The dollar is at its strongest level in years, the stock market is near record highs, gasoline prices are falling, there's no inflation, interest rates are the lowest in 30 years, US oil imports are declining, US oil production is rapidly increasing, the deficit is rapidly declining, and the wealthy are still making astonishing amounts of money. End quote. Okay, I don't know if the dollar is at its highest level in years. I'm not sure where he's getting that information. I would love to be able to check it out. If anybody has it, put it in the comment section on the blog or on the YouTube channel. Let's do some research here, because I'm not just taking somebody's word for it. But okay, let's say the dollar is at its highest level in years. Why is it we're hearing that we need to increase our minimum wage to a living wage? A strong dollar means you can buy everything you need for fewer dollars. A need for more dollars indicates to me that the dollar is not strong. The idea that there is no inflation is so stupid, I'm not even really going to comment on it beyond the fact that, the national debt escalated by trillions of dollars just early on in the Obama presidency. You can't flood an economic system with trillions and trillions of dollars and not expect the value of the dollar to, drop, which is the essence of inflation. That's like saying, well, beaver pelts are at the strongest they've ever been. I mean, yes, of course, we've just flooded the market with over 10 trillion beaver pelts, and they're going for, pelt for 5 pence, but that's the strongest the beaver pelts have ever been, despite the fact that 10 years ago, a beaver pelt went for £2. Yeah, I'm sorry. Learn math. Scarcity is what creates strength and value, not plenty. And yeah, okay, interest rates might be the lowest they've been for a while, but again, that's because people aren't really taking out loans. Banks are trying to convince people to take out loans, so of course they lower the interest rates to say, hey, look, the interest rate's low, come get a loan, you can afford it now. That doesn't indicate, strong growing economy. That indicates that banks are having trouble getting people to take their money. Probably because people don't have the money to take it. Oil imports may be declining, but that's, been happening for the last, several years, mostly because Americans aren't driving as much anymore. Gas prices went up so high we couldn't afford to do the pleasure driving like we used to. And so that created less demand, so of course the prices are starting to fall. Plus you've got groups like ISIS out there who've taken over oil fields that are selling it on the black market for, dirt cheap. That brings down the prices because the corporations who are selling it legally have to be able to compete with black market prices. Now, as far as the deficit declining, I haven't really heard about this. I don't know if it's true, but, I'm going to go back to, if you start with $17 trillion and you're rapidly decreasing that debt by, billions a month, yay! But, you're still looking at trillions of dollars of debt. So we've still got a massive deficit, even if it is declining rapidly. And, okay, sure, the wealthy are making more money, than ever. They're reporting, record profits and whatnot. But it's widely acknowledged that they're about the only ones really making money. The Republicans are basically, saying the middle class is failing and under attack and we need to bring it back, so they're not making money. The Democrats are freely admitting that the wealth disparity has grown so terribly much that they need to tax the wealthy to bring it down, but that's not going to really solve the problem there either. So the wealthy are making money, but everybody else except for the wealthy is losing money. That's not the indication of a strong economy. When the wealthy make money and everybody else is making money, that's the sign of a good economy. And I want to state here now, I am all for the wealthy making money and having that money be theirs. What you earn is what you earn, and you have earned that. It's yours to keep by right and by law. But if only one group is making money, that doesn't indicate a strong economy. All people making money is a sign of a strong economy. And I'm not even an economist, and I know that. Quote, America is leading the world once again and is respected internationally, in sharp contrast to the Bush years. End quote. Sure, that's why Russia is being quiet. China agreed to cut its pollution, and ISIS is a distant memory. Oh, wait. No, Russia's still taking territory. Putin's still rattling his saber, and he's kicking ass and taking names. Bush just got out of an economic summit with China where the U.S. agreed to cut its coal emissions by 25% in the next, 5 to 10 years, while China basically gets to increase their pollution all the way up until 2030. So where did we save the planet again? Because I'm sure China is going to exponentially increase the pollution compared to what we cut, so I don't think we saved anything there. And ISIS is still successfully claiming more and more territory, butchering thousands of people, I'm sure, at this point, and is really not even being successfully stopped by its neighbors, who are still waiting on America to do something about it, because, they expect American troops to come do their business. This is the, respected internationally and leading the world once again, Unlike the Bush years, which, for all his sins and crimes, he managed to take dozens of countries who outright hated America and despised him and lead them in a united, concerned global effort against Islamic terrorism. And for the most part, succeeded in Afghanistan. And yes, there was that little detour over in Iraq that, kind of fucked some things up when we pulled out prematurely. But, hey, if you can get your enemies to do your work for you, but you can't get people who respect you to do jack shit, I'm sorry. That's not leading the world and being respected internationally. That's being considered a putz who can be run over. Quote, Obama brought soldiers home from Iraq and killed Osama bin Laden. End quote. Okay, yes. He brought the soldiers home from Iraq. We've seen what that's done to Iraq. It took a lot of his presidency. He didn't really even get most of them pulled out until, his second term? Or right up before his second term as a PR stunt. We still got Guantanamo Bay and all that open after 6 or 7 years after he promised that he was going to close it within, the first year of his presidency. So, yeah, well done there. Well done keeping your campaign promises. And, by the way, he's looking to send American troops back to Iraq to try and help stop ISIS, because, yay, the war in Iraq is over. Let's go to the war in Iraq. Mission accomplished, guys. Mission accomplished. And sure, he killed, or bin Laden was killed under his presidency, but, that was the end of over a decade's worth of effort by intelligence agencies from all across the world, beginning with the Bush administration. Oh, sure. He killed Osama bin Laden. Yeah. Obama jumped from a dropship, parachuted open, pulled a 007 James Bond spy shit, walked into bin Laden's house, and put a bullet in his head himself personally. No. It was a team effort by dozens of countries in which we actually had to invade an allied country to get to him. Think about that. So, yay, mission accomplished. And what happened since then? Well, bin Laden's dead. Al-Qaeda is pretty much moved. We now have ISIS, which is 10 times worse than Al-Qaeda was. At least Al-Qaeda was a terrorist organization. ISIS is an actual government, a state, with territory, resources, people, and war crimes to its name far beyond anything Al-Qaeda did. Yes, Obama, you have succeeded in ending Islamic terrorism by killing Osama bin Laden. Good job there. Yeah, mission accomplished. Great. So, Americans, vote for the party that got you into this mess that Obama just dug you out of. This defies reason, end quote. Okay, Mr. Brunt, I'm going to need you to clarify which mess you're talking about. Are you talking about the war on terror? Because, the Republicans aren't really responsible for that one. Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda were. The war in Iraq? Well, okay. I guess it was a mess. I mean, we won it in just a few months, and we spent the rest of the time we were there building up a country and a government and a military that was supposed to be self-sufficient. And, Obama got us pulled out of that one, and the government went to hell. The Iraqi military abandoned its post and supplied their enemies with advanced modern warfare weaponry that they couldn't have gotten any other way, really. The economic mess, well, he hasn't really gotten us out of that one. In fact, all evidence really indicates that he's made it 10 times worse than it could have been. What started as a bit of a bubble has now become a full-on cascade effect that, if we're honestly looking at true statistics, points us to be really in a worse position than we were during the Great Depression. And the only reason it doesn't look as bad as the Great Depression is because, a bunch of people managed to be successful up before this point and still have enough resources to help out their family members. So we don't have to, abandon each other and travel the country in gangs trying to find work and labor that isn't there. So, the image is nicer. The reality is worse. So he hasn't really gotten us out of that mess. In fact, he's made it worse. Let's see here. The mess maybe of American healthcare? Well, we have universal healthcare now, except whereas every other, quote, enlightened country, end quote, has universal healthcare run by the government, well, you can go and the government helps you pay for your healthcare. We now have a universal healthcare system where, it's universal because you have to buy it or we punish you. Which is kind of the opposite of affordable healthcare because, like I said, or an example I can give you, because, let's see here, did I do this one again? Okay, I don't know that I gave this one, but I'm going to give this example again. Okay, I have health issues. I went to go see if I could get affordable health care through the Obama system. It asked me what I was going to make this year, and I said $6,000, because I was unemployed for the beginning part of the year, and I've been underemployed for most of the part of the year. So, $6,000 is going to be a lucky estimate for what I make this year, all told. Do you know how much it was going to cost me? $120 a month. Assuming I stay at my present economic level, which is what it's kind of looking at unless something changes, $6,000 a year. And you want me to spend $1,000+ a year, literally a sixth of my reported income, of my made income, for health care. That is in no way affordable. Ever. That is the opposite of affordable. So, yeah, Obamacare. I guess we can blame Bush for that mess. That was totally Bush. Yeah. Obama saved us from Bushcare. Oh, wait, no, it's not Bushcare. It's Obamacare. He didn't save us from anything. Let's see here. How about, working conditions? I went from being able to work 32 to 38 hours a week at a job to working 24, if I'm lucky. I have to have 2 jobs to equal what one job used to do. And the labor laws don't extend over 2 jobs. I mean, if you have to work 12 hours in a day between 2 jobs, you don't get the extra breaks that you would on a single job working 12 hours a day. No. You actually have to work harder for less breaks, with less rest and less resources, because you have to balance the 2 jobs. I know a guy who works 3 jobs, and literally, I think he gets about 6 hours of sleep a night, and that is all the time he has in the day for himself. I think one day a week he has a few hours where he's off. And that's it. Oh yeah, thank you, Obama, for cutting the hours. That really was a mess we needed to be saved from. I really needed to work less hours at a job. So and it wasn't the Republicans that did this. They didn't pass the Affordable Health Care Act that made all this happen. No. That was Democrats. That was the vaunted president that you were so in love with, Mr. Brunt. So, yeah, saved us from the mess. If you could get back to me about which mess you're talking about, that would be great. I mean, okay, yes, the Republican Party is a big pile of shit. I hate the Republicans. They are terrible. But the Democrat Party is terrible too. And, okay, yeah, we went and voted for, well, I didn't vote, but people went out and voted for the Republicans in the face of the Democrats. Well, that's what happens when you have a 2-party system. You get, pardon the language, but you get butt fucked, or you get oral, Choose one. Neither one's going to be pleasant for you. It's just, which one's standing at which end at the moment. And unfortunately, the Democrats have been standing at the rear end, so, it's kind of like, please? I mean, I would love it if America had a multi-party system. I would love that so very much. There's a need for it. But we don't have it at the moment, so our choices are, nail-studded baseball bat or razor-studded baseball bat. And people decide to go with nails rather than razors this time. They figure it's going to hurt a bit less. And okay, some of these messes and whatnot may have started during the Bush administration, but, how much were his fault and the Republicans' fault versus how much is Obama's fault is going to be a debate held by historians for decades. Centuries, probably. But the Democrats have only assisted Obama in making all these things that have clearly made the situation worse. So of course Americans are going to go to the other party that has been vocally trying to stop him for 6 years. And the final quote from Mr. Brunt. When you are done with Obama, could you send him our way? End quote. Well, Mr. Brunt, I would be happy to. Maybe then you can explain to the Canadian people how awesome it is to make $6,000 a year, maybe $10,000 a year, and be told that you have to buy your health care at, at least a tenth, if not more, of your income. You have to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. And, oh, by the way, our strong economy is not even going to have enough job growth for all the people who are coming into the workforce. And thousands of other things. You can barely buy cheap food, and you can't even afford your own home, and you have to get assistance for that. And be told that you have it so great by people from other countries. Yeah, I will be more than happy to do that, Mr. Brunt. Well, that wraps this up. I'm going to post the link in the article. By the way, if I failed to mention it, that information on the job numbers and unemployment rates comes from a book called Let Me Be Clear by Katie Kiefer. It can be found at most major bookstores these days. It's a fairly good book, well researched, lots of citations. I'd say go check it out if you want more information on the unemployment stuff, or the employment numbers there. And as always, leave your comments below in the YouTube or website. That's sonofhell.wordpress.com or sonofhell at YouTube. Leave your thoughts, leave your notes, and hella bless.